How do I utilize my past experience to become part of the solution?
Whether you want to accept it or respect it or understand it is up to you. But we're just letting you know that we understand.
I was looking at this documentary on Little Baby. And right now, shout out to Little Baby, man. A lot of times right now is, guess what, man? We don't understand what people go through, adversity to overcome. But he needs help, man. He needs a lot of help.
To have that level of protection when you have a 360 deal or your, whatever it is, whatever rights that are associated with the back end of the music industry, I think that's a huge deal.
How do I utilize my past experience? Hit the button. Good day, good day, good day, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Predator, the Beast, and Prey, the Beauty.
That should be me. You can call me Prey or you can call me Beauty, but make sure you call me Dr. E.
Okay, Dr. E. Shout out to Dr. E. Hey, folks, listen, you know what? Thank you for joining us. Right now, we got a lot of different things to talk about. And to me, when you sit back and you think about what's going on in the world today, like what we have, what we up against, to me, it's like everybody, all wise man seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And what I mean by that is this, man, even as you can learn from anybody if you want to learn. But the difference is, what are we learning? And to me, what I'm going to speak about is like my daughter, which is she's younger than me. She's 22.
I should hope your daughter is younger than you.
My daughter, she's a kid. She was telling me that, listen, Dad, you got to check out that Little Baby documentary. So I'm like, okay, what for? But once again, I'm glad I did, because I sat down and watched the Little Baby documentary. And when I sat down and watched the Little Baby documentary, I listened to Young Thug. Young Thug right now who's currently in jail down in Georgia under a RICO law. He's charged with the RICO. Whereas
what is RICO?
It's racketeering.
And what does it mean?
It's racketeering. Like right now, when you're as a group of individual committing crimes, like different, category of crime.
So you need to be a part of a group to be a RICO, like it's organized.
Yes, it's organized. That's RICO. That's what it stands for. So once again, even right now,
that's why our viewers, they may not totally understand.
Okay. And right now is even with racketeering. So he's charged, him and about 28 other people charged as a group, as a gang with racketeering. But doing that documentary, he's talking to Little Baby and telling Little Baby, listen, stay out the street. I don't want you out there hustling. I don't want you out there trying to make no fast money. I don't want you out there doing anything. I want you to stay out that street. And they go deeper than that. He said this man gave him powerful information, wisdom, knowledge, love. He even gave him cash money. He said, how much money do you need? How much would you make if you stay out today? Say 20,000. He went and gave him 20,000. He didn't want it back. So once again, he said, I would have gave that man $1 million just to keep him off the street, because I knew he was better than what he is. And I knew automatically right now is if he stay in the street, he going to lose it all. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to play that clip, the word, and see if y'all can listen to it or whatever, because I just think it was just so powerful.
Relax. I really have sacrificed anything because I see that it can happen. What you gonna make today? 20,000? Okay, yeah. 20,000. You don't even go. Hey, go home. I used to tell him to go home. You don't even gotta go to the studio. I'm like, okay, you don't gotta rap. Here, bro, go home. Get the fuck out of the block, bro. Go chill with your son, nigga. He could have said, give me $1 million. I would have gave it to him to stay out the street.
See, to me, with that right there, you was ever to hear the words?
It was a little muffled, but it seems like he said, and you can, correct me if I'm wrong. The last part I heard was that I will give you 20,000 to stay out of the streets.
Mm-hmm. And see, hold up. Let me see if I can get a better shot of it, because once again, like right now that's why we got to get. That's what we got to get, better, how can I say, better footage. Come on. No, don't worry about it. Hold up.
tell him to go home. You don't even gotta go to the studio. Like, I'm like, okay, you don't gotta rap. Yeah, bro, go home. Get the fuck out of the block, bro. Go chill with your son, nigga. He could have said, give me $1 million. I would have gave it to him. Just stay out of the street.
So you heard that part? So basically what he was saying is this right now. If he would, he said right now, what did it take you to get off the street? Say 20,000, he gave him 20,000. He said right now, the dude could have told him, give me $1 million. If you would have gave me $1 million, guess what? This should get you off the street. Guess what I would did? I would have gave you $1 million. Because once again, he knew the talent that this guy had, and he won him off the street. So you know what? But yet and still, he gave him so much of powerful advice, so much of powerful information. Why didn't he take heed himself? Why didn't he listen to his own damn advice? That's the only thing that got me upset, because once again, you giving good advice. You know what's out there. But once again, if you can give this man, he's like a brother, y'all kind of grew up together. If you can give him that type of information, direction, and guidance, why didn't you take heed your damn self? Why are you currently in jail, you know what I'm saying, since May 9th, a racketeering? You, your co-defendant Gunda, and the rest of the YSL guys that y'all facing forever and a day over what? It's like once you make it out of that ghetto or that urban environment and from that street, and you made it and you become legally, why are you going to take cleaning money and mix it with and make it dirty all over again? I don't get it.
So your question is, why didn't Young Thug take the advice that he shared with Little Baby, right?
Yes.
And now Young Thug is facing an unspecified amount of time in jail for the very reasons that he shared with Little Baby.
Exactly.
Okay. And so the question is not whether or not why Little Baby didn't take his advice. The question is why Young Thug did not adhere to his own sort of direction or advice.
Exactly.
Okay. And so why do you think, given that you are the expert in this area, why do you think Young Thug did not adhere to his own advice? Did he feel threatened? Was it a way to sort of was he clout chasing? Was this a way to seem like he was something other than himself? Because it is a culture that, and I'm not using culture as it is historically defined, but a culture within a culture, a subculture of the BIPOC, Black and Indigenous people experience that he felt that he had to sort of live up to. Why do you think the gentleman did not adhere to his own advice?
You know, sometimes you can be too deep. And sometimes when you're too deeply involved, you don't quite get it. Or sometimes you feel that you're smarter than everybody else, that you somewhat start thinking that you're invincible, that you know what, that you know how to beat the system. Because once again, it's like, you know, according to some of the things that they was doing, they was really smart. You know, right now, even from a criminal standpoint, like some of the things that they was doing, there was no way in the world, basically, that you can penetrate through their little operation. But in the same token, guess what? You know, he didn't want that for him. So basically, right now, he felt, listen, I'm giving you this advice. I want to guide you. I want to direct you. I want to quarterback you to safety. But he was still out there on that island doing all the things that he's trying to tell this guy not to do. And sometime right now is, guess what? You can be a good teacher, but a poor student because you're not taking your own advice, or you're not paying attention, following your own lesson.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to seem so confused. I'm just confused in terms of why. Is it, I get the poor, student, but why was he a poor student? I mean, he seemed to have understood the formula for success and or demise. So why did he choose the latter?
Because once again, a lot of times people want to gamble. A lot of times right now, people are addicted to things. People are addicted to the street. People are addicted to that street life, that light camera action. People are addicted to, right now, that gunshot, the blood, the killing, the drug dealing, the illegal activity. People are actually addicted to that. People are addicted to taking chance. Like, damn, my heart beating real fast, because once again, it's a good possibility that we can get caught. People are addicted to that. And to me, right now is
Why?
I don't know why. I can't. I'm not the
I'm
doctor.
just, I'm just,
No,
I think that's
but
what
I'm
the view,
saying
like, if
I
I'm curious to why.
I don't
Why would
know.
he give such advice to little baby, but then at the same time, he was unable to adhere to his own advice? I'm assuming he's slightly older than little baby,
I
right?
don't think so. I think they
Oh,
basically about the same age or 1 or 2 year difference. Nothing more,
oh,
nothing
okay.
less.
So they're within the same age
Yeah,
group.
but what I'm saying is, sometime when you out there and you've been doing it so long, it's like being addicted to the street, thinking that's all you got. So once again, sometimes what these people are doing, even though they made it as artists, rappers, rapping about some of the things that they doing or they going to do or did in the past. So they rapping about that. That's what this RICO stuff is all about. Some of the things that they rapped about. So they basically right now telling on their damn self, like, these are the things that we out there doing. We living this life. We ain't just talking about it. We about it. See, and that's what people get it mixed up at. Because once again, even if you about it, you don't have to rap about it. Right now, it's so backwards because when we was out there into that lifestyle, we didn't want nobody to know. We ain't gonna rap about it. We ain't gonna say nothing about it because we trying to get away about it. But here it is, these days in time, they want to rap about it. They want people to know, listen, this is who we are. This is the life that we live. This is no changing that. I don't care, record deal or no record deal, millionaire, no millionaire. I'm gonna be down, I'm saying, to the ground until the end of time. I'm gonna be about it. But once again, they don't even quite understand what they doing is they set themselves up to what? Fail. They set themselves up to spend 1,000 years of their life in jail. They set themselves up to go to that graveyard at an early age of a violent death, all because they want to be about it, about it. You're right. I understand exactly what you say because you don't get it. And I was in the street and I
Yeah,
don't get it.
you know what it is? I'm sitting here as a woman, right? A cisgender woman, a woman who identifies as a woman, a born, female. And I guess for me, what's really concerning is why they feel that is cool, why they think someone is even attracted to that, why they think or feel that that's how you get recognized in your community. That's how you feel valued. That's how you are accepted. I just can't seem to wrap my head around it because I don't want to reduce communities of color to this, that we believe when you are selling drugs, harming your community, destroying and being a destructor in your community, that somehow we value that. Because I know that as a people, we are kings and queens, and we have in our DNA, right? The need to lead people in the right direction. I don't believe that we want to lead people down a rabbit hole of destruction. So for me to feel that the brother was succumb to this because it was something that wasn't connecting between him and his community, I can't deal with that. I can't accept that, particularly when the brother was trying to, like, sort of part a certain knowledge on another brother in the community. Don't go down this road. So I look at it from a clinical perspective. Was he fearful of something, so that's why he was engaged? Was there something attached to it, so that's why he continued down this road? Was there something else that we are unaware of that made him sort of double down, if you will, against his own advice?
And you know what? You ask a lot of why, and to me, right now, is this. Honestly, it go back to us. and it start with us. Because once again, a lot of stuff that you can't wrap yourself around because you have to really be there and understand it. And it's a lot of things right now. I'm thinking when we use their age, thinking right now is want to be fashionable, want to be cool, want to be down, want to prove a point. So it's a different level of that. And sometimes when you get so wrapped up involved with all this stuff, guess what happened? You get too wrapped up involved that you lose yourself in the process. A lot of times people want to be stuff. I want to be the best dressed in my neighborhood, or I want to be the best dressed in my class, or something that you said right now, you don't get it. But look how many people right now that you see that's attracted to bad boys, bad girls. To me right now is you got a regular guy, and only thing he's a geek. But once again, he don't get no attention in school. Who get attention in school is a person that, trying to be fashionable, thinking he's smart, thinking he's slick, thinking he's cool, thinking he's a gangster. Discipline is easy said than done. 99% of people getting drug money never quit, even if they know better. Legal money is slow money, may not be able to afford what you can with fast money. Wow. A critique, powerful, very, very, very powerful, which is true.
Yeah, but it may be slow money, legal money, and fast money may be able to get you certain things that you are desirous of right now, but it's not guaranteed. It's not without looking over your shoulder. It's not without consequences. So, in essence, it is actually slow because it is not um, guaranteed. And in fact, it's always coming with some level of consequence. So, what is the rationale for that? I think part of it is examples in our community. Part of it is what the media displays to our community. What level of psychological warfare the media is trying to use against us in order for us to sort of move our way of thinking towards some kind of dysfunctional activity. It's also the breakdown in families. So, who are the people that are leading in the community, in the family? What is the role models, particularly for men? What does that look like? I can tell you just in the last couple of weeks, I've learned of or at least I heard of at least 5 people, males, that passed away and they weren't even like 45. And it's from basic chronic or acute health issues that may be exacerbated by things like stress and other types of, kind of social conditions. So, yeah, I don't have the answers, but I think it has been definitely worth the conversation because I think Young Thug, his mindset, because we're about changing mindsets, was in the right direction. The rationale for his own decisions remain unknown, and we will only know if we can have a conversation with him. And I think we should kind of pursue that, depending on his situation. But I think that's important to know because I think that will inform communities and generations to come why people make decisions that can be self-destructive.
Yeah, and you're right. But what I say is, honestly speaking, don't get me wrong. I love the show. I love that documentary. Right now, show you how people. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. And right
Mhm.
now is the fact that Young Thug did get caught up into that nonsense, but it shined a different light on this guy because once again, only that I knew about what I heard, but I didn't know nothing about his music. I probably heard his music in passing and didn't know what it was. But the fact that when I listened to the message that he was trying to deliver to his brother, I was impressed. And like I said right now, is I became a fan because once again, I know how it is. And when a person can give you, them saying sound advice and be sincere in their approach, guess what? You got to respect that. And at this day and time, we need all the help that we can get. Despite he probably know I'm too far gone. I'm caught up. I don't want you to go down that road. I'm gonna do everything in my willpower to make sure that you don't go down that road. So even with that being said, shout out to him. And hopefully, right now is God will he will be able to beat that case. Basically, right now, get out eventually because once again, I just think he's in the fight for his life, man.
Which one, Young Thug or Little
Yeah,
Baby?
young. No, little baby is free.
Right.
Little
So,
baby is free. So we
so
yeah
he
we
did. So just to conclude, did Little Baby take his advice?
he's still free. I can't say what I'm just speaking about is right now. The documentary is about my daughter introduced me to the documentary about little baby. I don't know nothing about it. You got little baby, you got the baby, you got baby. I don't know so many.
Oh,
But the difference
baby,
was
like the older baby,
okay.
Gangster Williams' brother.
Okay. So the difference is I took the time and I watched that and I look at that. And I just say right now is now when I saw Young Thug, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. That's currently incarcerated for RICO, and I'm seeing him speaking. I'm saying, wait a minute here. This is not adding up. Because based upon the way that he's kicking it right now, he know better. So based upon what I'm hearing from him now, I'm saying, yo, wait a minute here, man. Like this guy, they got to make a mistake. This can't be the same guy that they got under racketeering charge now, based upon the words that come out of his mouth that he giving advice to this other guy. So, I was just confused, scratching my head, because like I keep trying to tell people, I am not the smartest, I'm not the dumbest, I'm in the middle. But the difference is I'm listening to him. Damn, if you giving that man that type of advice, damn, you should have took heed.
Right. I'm curious though, how long, I'm assuming RICO, is it feds or state
It's
or
a
both?
state.
It's a state.
It could
It's
be a
state
state
charge.
RICO and a federal RICO. Normally, it used to only be a federal RICO, but right now that everything was RICO because of organization from mafia crime. They bring you down and hit you with the racketeering charge, hit you with the conspiracy charge, hit you with the wiretapping charge, and everything else. So mainly, it used to be just a Fed charge. But back in 1989, New York State brought it into the state of New York City, Brooklyn. And right now, this guy just broke up a question. And to me, this guy right here, Brian, is Baby Sam really home? Baby Sam Edmondson was the first person that was charged, him and his group, back in 1989 for Brooklyn State. You know what I'm saying? RICO, racketeering. So yeah, Baby Sam is home. He came on August 17th. After 33 years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And this was all for drugs, not for murder, homicide, burying bodies in backyards.
Okay,
This is all about drugs. It's a little excessive, isn't it? But I can't say that because families was harmed based on certain choices and certain, situations in their life. But it just sounds excessive to do 30 years for drug selling.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. Baby Sam in them case stemmed from a police officer got killed, a housing police officer. They got bodies, they got drugs, they got everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when they say racketeering consists of, multiple different, caliber of crime. Let's get with one more question. What you say? Lawyers say Thug case would have been thrown out in any other state. New York lawyers say it's based on hearsay and it's rap lyric, and only in Atlanta would a judge not allow bail with no actual evidence. The moral of the story: he was so hot that they had to go after him, and he may actually be innocent. Okay, cool.
Or like made an example of. Right, so sort of like in Roots, right? Like how they made Kunta Kinte like the example of, if you continue to act like this, we will beat you into whatever. So yeah, is it like some kind of example they're trying to make out of him? I mean, you were thinking about Roots and Kunta
No, I was not. I don't yeah. That was a whole, I don't know where you get that one from.
It's are they trying to make, if in fact these aren't like such serious charges the way that they are being presented, right? And other people have been charged with similar sort of allegations, but haven't been, sort of subject to facing whatever outcome that he may face. What example are you trying to make? And from what I understand, the crime rate in Atlanta is extremely high. and there's a lot going on in Atlanta. And a lot of it is being sort of targeted around rap music. So could this be a way to kind of augment that, right? To kind of like deal with that issue, to understand you may think that you're getting away with things, but if we're able to bring down, the people you admire, right? What do you think is on the back end for you?
I think Nicky Barnes was the first to get hit with the RICO before John Guy. Lou Boy, you're probably right. You're probably right. But even with this RICO and everything,
Nicky Barnes was who again? Just so that we can be clear.
Nicky Barnes was like probably one of the biggest drug dealer in the 70s from New York City. President Carter is the one that say he was in town, and they put him on the New York Times. And on the time, they had him dress up in a suit and a tie, and he had on like a blue, red, and white tie representing America. And basically on the title it say Mr. Untouchable. So President Carter say, get him, put him in jail.
Let me ask you, are they trying to suggest, like, I'm just going back to Lou Boy. Thank you. Shout out to Lou Boy. Lou Boy, is it that Nicky Barnes was like the first person to ever sell drugs on this level in the United States? Was he being used as an example? Was drugs being sold before that? Was I believe, racketeering and number running and dealing, was that all a part of our, communities before Nicky Barnes? Or was, I'm just trying to understand, was Nicky Barnes, was he black? I'm just curious.
Nicky Barnes is black.
Okay.
And Nicky Barnes is black. And see, like, even right now, like, where we going at it, like I say, that's why I say the date 70. Okay, drugs and all that stuff been existed for years. Drugs, it just started in the 70s. Drugs was in the 60s. Drug was in the 50s. Drug was in the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the 10s.
Oh, okay.
So what we had to do is, like, right now, is like, dealing with reality, like alcohol, drugs, been here since the existence of time. So we can't just like pinpoint and say, well, no. And it's like right now, like, that's what I said right now. Like, when people come up and I just try to put certain things in perspective and get a better understanding. But no, like Nicky Barnes in the 70s, that was his time. Even right now, where it's like,
was that before like Al Capone and Frank Nitti? Like, was that like, because there was a lot of, if I recall, at least when I was coming up, I watched a lot of movies around like Doc Schultz and Al Capone and all these people. They were selling lots of drugs and running a lot of like drugs and illegal numbers and alcohol, including the Kennedy family. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how did Nicky Barnes fit within that time frame?
It don't. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You go on back in the 10s to like the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, okay. Like. And see, that's what I'm saying. We're losing track because Nicky's 1970. So right now,
he was like a child in this. Okay.
Yeah, with Nicky and the Barnes was 1970. So when you start Al Capone and Dutch, you know what I'm saying, and all that, that's like in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. So it's totally different. It's still,
but it was going on. You're saying it was happening in the country. Drugs,
but it was way before our time. We didn't even exist.
I get that, but what was the laws at that time? Were they facing racketeering charges for the things that they did that was similar to what Nicky Barnes was? I'm just trying to understand, like, the timeline.
Okay, I don't know.
When did it become so severe that now a gentleman in 2022 is faced with a racketeering? That's what I'm trying to connect it to.
Okay.
Young Thug.
But like I said right now, is always remember, law changed daily. So the law back then, some of that stuff didn't exist. From my understanding, certain little things with Nicky Barnes, they invented the law during that period of time to more or less accommodate what was going on. So, like I said right
Mhm.
now, I am not no legal beagle. So, a lot of
Mhm.
stuff I don't really like to speak on when it called the penal codes and laws because that's not my area of expertise. So, I try to like stay in my comfort zone. Whereas what I know, I only try to speak about some of the things I do know. So, when we start talking about like when the racketeering first came into effect, I don't know. So, I'm
No,
not
I
trying
wasn't
to.
trying to ask that question, Big Brother Glaze. I was just trying to figure out like the severity of the activity. So it seems like this, at least what I'm hearing you say is that this activity has been going on for a long time, pre-exists all of these people that we're talking about. However, these people are facing life in prison now because things have obviously changed, although they have been going on for a long time. And if you date back to when they first started and sort of kind of understanding why these people had gotten involved in these kinds of activities, are there similar reasons from a social and emotional standpoint why our young brothers today are getting involved into this in the same activity?
Okay, I don't think it had nothing to do with social or emotional. I think it got to do with more economic because
Oh,
right
okay.
now is everybody trying to make money. Everybody trying to make fast illegal money. So even with that being said, I'm gonna go on to the next topic because once again, like I don't want to get caught up into as far as like like I said right now was like some of the things right now was I love to talk about, but if certain things I feel like it's like beyond my reach. If I don't quite understand it or whatever, like I said, when we start talking about 1910, 1920, 1930, 1940, 50, that's before my time. And like,
Well, it's not even an issue of it being before your time. I'm just curious in terms of young people who make these decisions to get involved in activities that can cost them all of their life in prison. What is the driving factor behind why they're making these decisions? And you're saying it's economic. I don't know if that was the case for young Thug. That it was economic because apparently, at least from what I understand, he was already kind of like involved in rap music, making money. I don't know his financial, history or situation, but he did share some really sound advice with a fellow brother, black man in the same industry. So why did he make those decisions? And I think that was, that's the only thing that I was trying to sort of like, I don't know, unpack in this conversation. Like, why? So that our young people will not make those same decisions and will not be faced with what he's facing now.
yeah, I don't have the answer for that.
Hmm. Okay.
I don't have the answer for that. So
Well, shout out to both of them, and hopefully, little baby will stay out of the penal system, and we wish young Thug, absolute, success and in terms of the outcome of his situation. And I just want to say also, it was great advice that he gave his fellow brother. That was great advice, and I would give that to any young person.
yeah, but like you said right now, even when we give great advice, we got to basically right now follow it. We got to take heed ourselves because once again, what the sense of giving great advice, but you failed to follow it. I think that's like a major major sign, I guess, in a breakdown because he gave perfect advice. If he would have followed that same advice that he gave little baby, chances are he would be free right now.
And then I would just, as your co-host, just say to young Thug is, or I'm not speaking for him, but why he didn't follow it? Was he under, serious financial issues? Did he have debt? Was there some kind of threat against his life, against his family? Did he feel a sense of fear? Was there something that was going on that we aren't necessarily privy to that led him in that direction that now has him facing an uncertain future.
I don't know. So,
Yeah.
like I said, right now, hopefully, right now, his situation turned out great for him. That he will be able to base right now is get his day in court and hopefully right now when he get his day in court, that he will be able to, basically right now come home to his family one day. So that's what
I
we're
do
gonna look
have a
at.
question for you about that though. I know there's been a lot of talk about like what he should do. If he's a part of a larger organization, do you suggest that he, in order to kind of like deal with his own consequence or outcome, sort of, I don't want to use the word snitch, but should he like sort of give provide information about other people and their involvement?
Okay, you sit back and think about it. If he's the number one guy, that's his group, that's his organization. So the bottom line is right now, if you got a bunch of people following you, regardless whether it's right or wrong reason, it's kind of backwards. Like, right now, everybody's situation is different. So the difference is he's the number one guy. And all these guys, only thing they did was what he instructed them to do. It'd be kind of hard for him to go against what he instructed them to do. So
Mm.
that's just something totally right now is that's a very like touchy situation because once again, everybody got to do what is best for themselves.
It's just so interesting that he would be like sort of like you said, like the head person of this enterprise, and at the same time, making rap music. It just feels a little disjointed, but one never knows.
Yeah, like you say, one never know. Next topic I want to get into is this dude, DJ Academic. Basically right now is he made a hell of a statement, and right now is LL Cool J kind of chastised him in regards to that because once again he made a statement about how can any of these guys be pioneer a rap, be the inventor of the rap scene, but yet and still like they look dusty. And sometimes people don't understand, right? When you look at that or you listen to that statement, I think that was kind of ignorant on his behalf because a lot of
Mhm.
times you sit back and think about it. Sometimes the founders of situation look at all these individuals that pay the way for all these great basketball players and all these basketball players, getting all these millions of dollars now. Back in the days, right now in my time frame, these guys wasn't making that type of money. They didn't have all the TV revenues and all the commercials, all the endorsement. So I don't care whether it's like from the rapper industry, the actors and actress, the singings, the baseball player, the basketball player, football player, the hockey player. Everything takes time, and sometimes you have to have people being pioneers. And right now, to pave the way for all these other individuals to be where they at today. And sometimes people fail to realize they don't pay homage. It's got to be a sacrifice somewhere. So, in order for him to make such a bold statement, I just think right now, man, this guy is like, I don't know. I love the way the GOAT LL Cool J kind of chastised him. And I'm going to see if I can play that piece.
That's what I'm trying to
Okay.
tell you. Man, them niggas, bro, have you seen any of these old rappers who be like, yo, they're the foundation of hip hop really living good? Them niggas be looking really dusty. I kid you not. And none of y'all trying to come for me because I don't fuck with y'all niggas either. So I'm just tell y'all the truth. Y'all be looking like every time there be like an old nigga talking about hip hop, you be like, yo, bro, you sure you invented this? Because everybody else living better than you. Facts. I don't go live a lot. I haven't really been going live since, the pandemic, but this is something that came to my attention. It came to my attention that a DJ, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't think it's necessary. A DJ basically said that, a lot of the pioneers in hip hop are, they're dusty, or how can they be the pure person that, invented hip hop if, they don't have a lot of money? Or if they don't look or represent like they have a lot of dough, right? Let me explain something to you, and say this for you guys. Don't confuse someone's ability to develop a business model. Don't conflate. In other words, don't think just because somebody knows how to get money or fails to get money that they didn't make a contribution to the culture. No one discusses Miles Davis's bank account. We don't talk about John Coltrane's bank account. We don't talk about a lot of even rock musicians, a lot of them. We don't talk about their bank accounts. A lot of great country artists, we don't talk about their bank accounts. This idea that you have to have money or else you don't have any value is a bad idea, and it's kind of like it's a misinformed way of looking at the world and the culture. There are artists out here. First of all, let me say this. First of all, like let's talk about like young artists, right? Who I love. I love the young artists. Let's be clear. I'm very much a guy who embraces the young artists. I believe in every generation. I believe in you. I care about you. Let me say this to you though. Today, you could come up with your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan. You can go find a manager. You can find an accountant. You can find somebody that means something to you, to help you. You can find a team to help your career go to the next level. When hip hop first started, there were no managers. There were no accountants that believed in it. Record companies didn't even believe in it. Nobody believed in it. How can you make a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan on something that doesn't even exist yet, that people have never even heard of? So just because a couple of these guys and girls and people out here made songs and made music and made contributions to this culture, or even dancers danced and made these contributions go, just because they didn't get rich, just because they weren't able to pile up millions or billions of dollars, does not mean that they didn't make a contribution to this culture.
Look at that. You know what? First of all, like I say, shout out. Shout out to LL Cool J. And you know what right now is why I say shout out to this individual? Because once again, when you look at that rap world, and once again, if you look at rap when we was coming up and how people look at it, people didn't look up to rappers. Rappers used to look up to street guys or whatever.
Yeah, they did.
Me,
It's
with this
true.
individual,
It's embarrassing, but it's true.
to me, with this individual, you never heard nothing negative about him. You never heard nothing disrespectful about him. It's like he always, I don't care where you see him or whatever happened, guess what? He always was the ultimate professional. Even now, when he listened and he responded to DJ Academic talk about these guys, they pioneer. Pioneer what? They look dusty. They don't got nothing. But see, look how LL came at him. LL came at him politically correct, not yelling, not screaming, not cursing, none of that. He basically taking his time, having an intellectual feedback towards this negative, introduction that DJ Academic tried to say about the pioneers. And a lot of times right now is if it wasn't for these pioneers, a lot of people wouldn't be where they are today. Because once again, people didn't even visualize that this rap thing can turn into a multi-billions of dollar operation. So even with that being said, LL Cool J came along, he put his white gloves on, and he basically beat the living daylight out of him, letting him know you wrong. You owe these people. You supposed to be paying homage. We supposed to be doing GoFundMe for the pioneers of the rap industry that didn't get their due process because once again, they was too busy laying down the foundation that you able to breathe, eat, live, and shit off of them. So like to me, that was an excellent comeback. And like from LL, who I feel is the GOAT, the OG, like I said right now, humble, meek.
Yeah. Yeah, that was beautifully said. I just want to give Brother Academics a little benefit of the doubt. You know, Part of maybe what he was trying to convey is that he doesn't see the visual sort of reward of their sacrifice, right? And their contribution in the early developments of this art form. And so, but he was trying to, for shock value, use terms that would generate, attention for the algorithm. I don't want to believe that brother academics is that disconnected from our community at large, that most of what we do is going to always feel dusty because we aren't the financial sort of upper class of our society. So, yes, even your grandma and your mama and your auntie and your uncles have worked probably only what you would probably consider dusty jobs, but they were able to keep a roof over their head, hopefully, and food on the table, and make a contribution to your family and the family that you was, created in. Um, I think that Brother LL did a great job in helping Brother Academic sort of understand the value, the contribution, and everything that the founding fathers or the forefathers of the rap industry did in order to create a sort of like space for all the new rappers to come in. And even with the new rappers, we find out that many of them aren't necessarily, they don't necessarily have the financial security that we all sort of think they have because of all of the visual things that we're able to see. Just because you're unable to see, just because people are unwilling or not really into showing their wealth, like their paid off house, that the fact that they're debt free, the fact that they have stocks and life insurance and bonds and a 401k and a savings account and a checking account and all the things to the world and to us. It's really not our business, and neither was it our business when our grandparents were able to do it. Doesn't mean that they aren't doing okay. And dusty is all relative. I actually feel very offended by the word dusty for the forefathers or foremothers that he's talking about, because I just don't think that's the appropriate word. Um, we weren't in those days, in the early days, people weren't necessarily putting all of their security, meaning financial security, out there. There was no social media platforms for people to use in order to sort of, lift that, look at what I have. I'm driving this, or I live in this kind of home, or I have these kinds of, whatever trinkets. So, yeah, I don't want to say that about people like KRS-One, Chuck D, Big Daddy Kane, you know, you, oh gosh, there's so many that I can't even mention them. Uh, I just don't want to think that they're dusty. You know what I mean? They sacrificed their life to this art form and created something that, in fact, if you believe they are dusty, instead of saying they're dusty, do something about, lifting the work and all that they did to create a space now that we can even talk about what it is they do. In every other profession, whether it's medicine, we sort of acknowledge the forefathers that created penicillin, who created, blood plasma. They may have been dusty doctors, but we benefit from their expertise, from their knowledge, from their contribution. So let's just sort of respect people who came before us and the contribution they made, and love ourselves enough to understand the sacrifice that we all make, right? 100 plus years out of slavery to be here today, to do something, to contribute something. And hopefully 100 years from now, when DJ Academics is no longer here, when we are no longer here, that our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren will be able to have something else to look forward to.
Like even right now, like to me, honestly speaking, I think I appreciate what you're saying, and honestly, like to me, being a little bit too easy on academic, because once again, like right now is, I think that was a foul statement. I think right now is like, sometime with these individual, I think he's like one of those college kid, was born probably a little bit more fortunate than a lot of other people. And what I'm thinking, honestly speaking, is like he don't even quite understand some of the trials and tribulation that myself and a lot of these individuals that he's calling Dusty, what we've been through. So he didn't walk that walk. He didn't talk that talk. He didn't experience the thing that we was going through back then. And once again, that was like you say, even from me and Chuck D interview, like Chuck D said right there, was you didn't hear hip hop. We had to be on the outside with hip hop. We had to be in the park or block parties or right now I remember over there by Linden Plaza, like under the train track. That's where we used to have to take the hip hop music to. So once again, from the Jimmy Spice, the Super Rhyme, and the Curtis Blow, and right now is Spoonie G, and Flash and the Furious Five, and all these other pioneers from way back when. How can you appreciate something that you wasn't even there? You probably wasn't even born. But once again, you want to say to yourself, like, yeah, man, these guys look dusty, because you're a little bit more fortunate because you was able to reap the benefit from the foundation that they built. You know what I'm saying? On the back end. It was nothing there in the beginning. So now you sitting back living off the cow, and you all happy, like, yeah, like these dudes is dusty. Because if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be no you. You wouldn't be in the position. Your bank account wouldn't be looking like bling, bling, bling out of control. Then right now, if it wasn't for them, then guess what? DJ Academic, you would have been dusty.
What is it about his characteristics that he doesn't understand the BIPOC experience in the United States? What is it about him? Is he of a different culture? Is it something about him that sort of makes him oblivious to, what it is that, Chuck D and KRS One and Curtis Blow and Dougie Fresh and, all of these people, Big Daddy Kane, contributed to this? Even the people that I'm sure he admires them. That's like us saying that we don't respect Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, right? Or Marcus Messiah Garvey. Like, that would make no sense to me. Like, who the hell are we, right? Sitting here to think the people that made the sacrifices before us, although they all died transitioned relatively, I don't want to say poor, but not of an extreme financial abundance. But it wasn't the financial abundance, because finance and what capitalism represents in America is based on white supremacy. So it's what they impart on us in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise, in terms of experience is what we value. When they leave something behind so that you can build from it, that's what we value. That's what we acknowledge. And there's nothing dusty about that. There's something dusty about your understanding of the experience of the people who came before you.
Great point. Look at my man, Sean Pointer. Academic is part of the problem to young black man. This man has a huge platform, and he promotes so much negativity for our culture. So once again, like you say, he got a huge platform, more or less targeting the hip hop community. But basically right now, he benefit from the foundation of hip hop, from all these dusty people that he's speaking about. But yet and still, if it was for them, he wouldn't have a huge platform. So he's one of those cornballs. And I'm going to say it again. He's one of those cornballs that manipulate and was able to mastermind and get a place in hip hop. But yet and still, he going to call the founders, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters. He going to call them, dusty. That's adding insult to injury. But yet and still, these days and time, they're able to get away with that because once again, they can get on these platforms and they can do this little nonsense and they don't be held accountable. So Sean point to a great, great point. Listen, I got my man, Terrence Gangster William. Why? Guy Will, I'm going to go live with you Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Why? You know, he got a message for you too.
Hey, how you doing, Terrence Gangster Williams? When I'm coming on your platform, what's going on? I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you.
Hey, like I said right now, my man came back with another good point. You care to read that? You gotta unmute.
So, okay, he doesn't understand our culture at all. It's crazy. If I'm being honest, young Black men will benefit more from you than him. I'm 36 and I gain more knowledge from you than I ever have from academics. And thank you, Sean Pointer. I hope I'm saying your name right and correctly. Thank you, brother. I mean, it isn't that academics didn't have a point of view. It's just in terms of how we understand his point of view and whether or not he understands by making those kinds of statements, how he's demoralizing the very facts of the people that he stands on today. And so we are here, right, to help him sort of clarify that. And even if he feels he has a large platform, it's always room, like I think our brother, good brother, right, Hassan, always points out, for us to impart knowledge on people so that they understand, whether it's one person, or two people. We need to always let people know, no, you will not step on KRS-One. No, you will not step on Chuck D or Big Daddy Kane or any of them because we understand their sacrifice. It's just like us knowing that Tut was the first person to be convicted under the 3-strike law. Doesn't make it right. Right? Right or wrong, Glaze? Does it make it right?
Hey,
no, but it's some people in this world that says Tut deserve to be spending the rest of his life incarcerated, or Ken Do deserve to be spending the rest of his life incarcerated. Like, at what point do we say, yeah, this is what it was, but that doesn't make it right? No, it doesn't make it right. So that's all. Okay. I'm not going to belabor this, but I love everyone who came before us and that's laid the foundation, including yourself. So we're not going to, I think you said that I allowed academics to get away off easy. I'm not saying that. I'm trying to reframe what it was that he said and sort of interpret it in a different way. But at the same time, I'm standing firm on the fact that no, they are not dusty. Our thinking is dusty.
Okay. You mentioned some name. Hopefully right now, Walter King Tut Johnson, Eventu will be released. Like he's in there for 3 strikes, never murdered nobody, did his time. He pays debt to society. And as for Ken Do, just in case you don't know, Ken Do been released a few months ago. So even with that being said, hopefully he's doing well and, based right now, rejuvenating and, living his life with his family. So even as we speak about DJ Academic right now, like I say, 2.71 million subscribers. 2.71 million subscribers. So basically right now, you call yourself a DJ and you speak about the hip hop culture. So basically right now is you have definitely benefit from quote unquote these dusty guys. Because once again, if it wasn't for these dusty pioneers, it wouldn't be no DJ Academic. So that's the point that I'm making. So anyway, right now,
does he even fully understand that? In which I want to say he does, but is he doing this because he thinks the culture? There's something that the great Wendy Williams would say, and that was that she doesn't talk about anything important because she believes Black people don't want to hear that, or that people of color like to gravitate towards the things that are negative, right? And that's an unfortunate view that we often take in order to galvanize, followers or subscribers or whatever, because it equals some kind of financial reward. But at the end of the day, you don't die with your money, you die with your purpose.
You just made a powerful statement, and I got to ask that question. You say, like the great Wendy Williams, and I'm confused. Right now, where it's like, what make Wendy Williams great?
I I mention that because I think in the time that she came through the industry, to be able to go from radio to television to from college, basically from radio to television, in a time when Black people, particularly Black women, weren't being accepted in those spaces. I think that's something that I think a lot of people today use in college rooms and spaces to talk about what was her strategy, what was her method, what was the modality that she used in order to get her from, a local radio station to syndication to then a nationally syndicated TV experience, which most people in this entertainment industry ultimately want, right? They want to be accepted in a sort of like global space. And she was able to achieve that. I
Okay.
don't know if we do a good job as people of color in terms of documenting, if you will, our sort of strategies or steps. Even when I think about you, when we talk about your 25 years post incarceration and the steps that it took in order for you to stay free when the odds of people who recidivism goes at like 80 to 90%, like the odds, you were only working in a 10% margin. Let's think about money, a 10% margin. How did you do that when 90% of the people under your same circumstance, particularly with homicides, murders, very, very, I want to say, high profile murders, things that were on television, a part of the news, you were on the Post, like all of these things. How was you able to get there? These aren't easy stories to tell because you would be considered dismissed. You would be considered insane. You would be considered people that someone doesn't want to associate with because of your background, of what you admitted on Vlad TV. Shout out to Vlad and your documentary, is that it was 5+ murders that we are aware of. So in that sense, that is serious. How do you go from that, from people seeing you as a serial killer, to being someone who's now sharing knowledge and wisdom and understanding about criminogenic behaviors and what it means to feel the pain of the death of your mom, to have been, sort of guided by and influenced by people in your community to be something other than what you was, all between the ages of 14 and 24. That's why I called her great, not because great is associated with some definition that Webster has provided for us, but great in terms of your struggle and ability to cope with your trauma and adverse childhood experiences.
Yeah, you know what? It's only because of the grace of God. Shout out to God, you know what, for his blessing and his mercy.
So your recommendation is you don't really, I mean, you have a book out, and so shout outs to your book in terms of your redemption and how you went through that experience. But for you what you're trying to say to the viewers is that they should keep faith alive.
Yeah, you got to keep faith alive. Without faith, you have nothing. No prayer, no power. Less prayer, less power. More prayer, more power. Much prayer, much power. That's it. And that's what
Did you
people got.
pray for those 25 years?
What 25 years?
25 years post release. So when you were going through, so could see 25 years post release wasn't like you released in whatever date, right? And then all of a sudden you're today on YouTube sharing with millions of people your experience. There was a process in that. So was it only prayer, or was there action associated with it?
You know, it's a belief system. Is right now knowing right from wrong, and knowing right now, and guess what? Righting your wrong, knowing right from wrong, and knowing right now is out of all the pain and suffering that you cause people and that you inflicted upon yourself directly and indirectly, knowing that you will not go backwards. So, like I said right now, is just go back to the basic. Like in order to get change, I think pain change everything. Where there's no pain, is no gain. There's no pain you don't quite understand. When you got to sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation with yourself and do some real life soul searching. If you're not able to do that, then guess what? You're going to still be stuck like Moni in the middle.
Do you want to read that from Sean?
Yeah, and we're going to end this. Sean, what's sad is she's 1,000% right. Us, a culture, would be interested in negativity over something that's uplift us as a Black community. We focus on cancel culture instead of coming together as Black folks. And that's so true. And that's where we lose that, because once again, we too busy being like the officers that put their knee and foot on George Floyd's neck. The difference right now is we do that to each and every one of us, each and every day. So once again, why are we so mad at that officer that put his knee on George Floyd's neck when we are our worst enemy? So a lot of times right now is when you watch people like a DJ Academic and some of the things that he's saying about the culture being dusty, the bottom line is right now is those same dusty individuals is why you are in the place that you are today, and you fail to pay respect for that because you don't quite understand it, because once again, you was given a silver spoon in your mouth because of that culture, because of those dusty individual. And if it wasn't for them, imagine if you had to be the pioneer. If you had to be the pioneer, guess what? Guess what? It wouldn't even be no rap. Rap wouldn't be an industry that talk about we making billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. You know, because once again, based upon who you are, you a person that took the shortcut. You was able to live and survive based upon their blood, sweat, and tears. So I have no respect for you for that.
No, you're absolutely right. And we're all on someone's blood, sweat, and tears. We know that people of color, particularly Black people, were slaves in this country for over 300 years, if not more. And then you add in everything else that happened. So we're all on someone's blood, sweat, and tears. And I guess I don't want to call the slaves dusty, but I mean, if that's the case, we're all dusty in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, that's incredible. And there's no way I will ever agree with something like that. I dismiss that kind of language, and we need to be respectful and have boundaries around what we say and put things in context, because Ice-T, Ice Cube, all of the people who've come before us and before them certainly have made contributions to this art form. And for him to use those terms, it just shows that, sadly, it shows other people that we don't even value the blood, sweat, and tears that our people have contributed to our life in general. Like, we have to love ourselves before people even value us. So,
see, the difference is right now, a lot of times people like to voice their opinion because they didn't went to the war. They didn't have to get down in the trenches. They wasn't out there right now. Was, guess what? When we used to go out there to try to have ourselves a good time, guess what we got to worry about? The gunshots and everything else. You know, even something that Chuck D said. Right now, he knew automatically right now was, guess what? When they was about to have party, they already had security way back when. Because automatically he letting people know you can't come in the party with the jewelry on, because he knew the jewelry's going to be headache. They didn't want no headache party. They wanted to be nice and smooth. So once again, back then, even right now with those pioneers that you speak about, that was dusty. If it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be no Young Thug. It wouldn't be no, you know what I'm saying, right now is Dougie Fresh. It wouldn't be no Biz Markie. It wouldn't be no, you know what I'm saying, Nas. It wouldn't be no. Because once again, these are the guys, because of their blood, sweat, tears, and experience and the stuff that they had to went through. So the bottom line, they was a sacrificed lamb. You know, right now, they didn't get paid for being a sacrificed lamb. So all these hip hop years later, it wouldn't be no Run DMC. All these guys that y'all talking about, these dusty people, all y'all guys should be paying homage. Y'all should start a GoFund for these dusty pioneers. That's what you need to do. because that would be the right political thing to do, because they deserve it. Because if it was for them, DJ Academy, you wouldn't have 2.71 million subscribers. So with that being said, folks, listen, thank you for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate your time. Peace, love, and prosperity. Tune in next week for another episode of The Predator and Prey. So I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Good night. And I'm going to end it with Dr. Lisa.
I just wanted to end by saying, to grow old, to get dusty, you also need health benefits. And so many of our rappers, even today, don't have health care coverage. Isn't that, given it's almost like 50 plus years that, rap has been around, right? And many people in the industry, whether it's movies or anything else, they don't even have health benefits. So we're all going through health crisis, and there's no information out there about how to be able to care for yourself when things start to go wrong. And so dusty is not the correct way to put things. It's sort of like, let's continue to build, grow, and understand how to be the best human we can be and to support one another.
Thank you, folks. Peace, love, and prosperity. The one thing about that I love about your video and who you are as a person, Mr. Gibbs, that you take the time to focus your energy towards the youth. Before every video, got to say to youth, you're right. We got to make sure they don't go down that narrow, that dangerous road of no return, like myself, like so many others, like the young thugs. You're right. We got to make sure it stops now. Thank you, everybody. Peace, love, and prosperity.
Bye. See you next week.